And this is how I know. I know for a fact that Ancestry.com is not the most accurate tool. It is, I would say it's about 90% accurate with about a 10% not so accurate information. So I'm doing some more research on Ancestry.com, looking at some things. I'm looking at my grandfather. I always knew my grandfather was mixed to a degree. From the information he told me that he was basically a griff. So basically a quarter white. This is what my grandfather always told me. But if you looked at him, you would think he's just a monoracial black man. Very, very dark-skinned black man. He also has some Native American in him as well. But the Native American is so small to the point to where Ancestry.com is not even showing me a Native American result, even though I know for a fact that I also have Native American ancestry because my grandfather had it in his blood because he took a DNA test. So, so I know for a fact that Ancestry.com is not the most accurate tool. Also, my grandfather, he gave me the whole backstory behind his parents and grandparents. I also met his father before he died, which is my great-grandfather, who was a mulatto. But for some reason, I'm looking at, on Ancestry.com, it's showing me one of my great-grandfathers, but this is not my great-grandfather. This is my great-great-grandfather, who was basically, he was a white man. But for some reason, Ancestry.com is telling me that his race is mulatto. But that's supposed to be my great-grandfather, not my great-great-grandfather. So for some reason, my grandfather's information is not showing up on Ancestry.com. But my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather, their information is showing up on Ancestry.com. And for some reason, they're giving the mulatto category to my great-great-grandfather when my great-great-grandfather, whose name was Adolph Williams, he was a white man, not a mulatto. He had a son named Lawrence Williams, which is my great-grandfather. He was a mulatto. Okay? He was a mulatto. But for some reason, they're saying that my great-great-grandfather was a mulatto. That's not true. And there's some other misinformation that Ancestry.com, like I said, it's not too bad. It's not like the misinformation is so bad to the point to where it's just completely inaccurate. Like, no, it's accurate enough. It's accurate enough to find out what your background is. So I'll give them that. It's accurate enough, but there is some slight errors in their database. Just want to point that out. There is some errors. But yeah, they got my grandfather. You can see his race right here. When you look to the bottom, it says mulatto for his race. Because this was in the 1800s. So, yeah, in the 1800s, mulatto was still on the census report. And they just took it off. You know what I'm saying? But it used to be on there. And there's some databases that still have mulatto. You know what I'm saying? You go on Ancestry.com, like you can see right here, my grandfather's race is mulatto. But that's because this was the 1800s or 1900s. This might not even be, like I say, this is not my grandfather. I mean, this is not my great-grandfather. This is my great-great-grandfather. So this information is not correct. His race was white. He was a white man. So they're kind of getting things mixed up. And then when it comes to my great-grandfather, they're making it seem as though that's just my regular grandfather when it's not. That's my great-grandfather. So it's just some misinformation going on with Ancestry.com that they need to go into their databases and fix these minor, even though they're minor mistakes There's still mistakes that need to be fixed regardless. I don't care if they're minor or not, small or not. Fix these errors. You know what I'm saying? So if they made these types of errors, I can only imagine how many other errors they've made. I also went to go look at my traits, because that's another thing they have on Ancestry.com. You could look at your traits. When I looked at some of my traits, it made the claim that one of the traits that I got from my mother was being an extrovert. That's hilarious, because my mother was a huge introvert and I'm also a huge introvert. You know what I'm saying? And then there was some other things that just didn't add up. So it's like there's a lot of mistakes within the Ancestry.com database. My mother told me that she assumed that if I took a DNA test that it would come up to about 45% African, but Ancestry.com told me that I'm 41% African. But with all these mistakes, it looks like I'm going to need to go take a different DNA test to see what type of other results I'm going to get, because I'm almost willing to bet I probably am more African than what they're telling me. And I also have that Native American in me, which isn't even popping up on Ancestry.com. So it looks like I'm going to have to go take some other types of DNA tests. That's the best thing to do. The best thing to do would be purchase multiple different DNA kits, take them all to see all those different results. You know what I'm saying? Not just take one and then call it a day. No. We're going for another one. Next, I'll probably do 23andMe. Then I'll do Ancestry. I'll do African. They got AfricanAncestry.com. Then they have 23andMe.com. And then you got some other ones. The next two that I'm going to be using are going to be AfricanAncestry.com and 23andMe.com, so I can see what kind of results I get from that. Now, one thing that I really liked about Ancestry.com, though, that I don't think any of the other DNA tests have at the moment, is the Louisiana Creole database. That's one thing that Ancestry.com has that I like. I love that. You know what I'm saying? I love that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one good thing they did. Overall, I still like Ancestry.com. I like it. I give it an 8 out of 10. That's my review for Ancestry.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just make this into a short review video. I'm going to make this into a short review video. If you want to see if you haven't seen it yet and you're interested in seeing it, I already posted up my DNA results on video. I'll leave the link to that video in the comment section, so you can go look at that if you want. And I got another video coming up where I'm going to be breaking down my Louisiana Creole heritage. I'm going to be digging deeper a little bit into that in an upcoming video. And so like I said, I give Ancestry.com a solid 8 out of 10. The reason why I'm not giving it a 9 or a perfect 10 is because of these minor, small mistakes. But they're minor and they're small, so I still give them an 8 out of 10 overall, which is still very, very good. I'm pretty much satisfied with what I've gotten from Ancestry.com. I'm satisfied for the most part. It's just some little small minor mistakes. That's all.